Your iPhone is a productivity power tool, but I often find that when I talk to people, even people that have owned iPhones for a long time, they don't really know a huge amount of iPhone productivity tips. In this video, I'm going to share 10 amazingly useful iPhone productivity tips that I reckon most owners have no idea about. Okay, let's get into it. Did you know anywhere on your iPhone where you see a currency, you can immediately convert that currency into your local currency without having to use any third-party tools? So here, for example, I've got an email, and in that email are some products with US dollar values next to them. I can long press on any of those US dollar values to select the text, then press the little right-pointing arrow in the menu that appears. About halfway down the menu, you can see the currency converted into British pounds, which is my local currency. I've tested this out, and this works in things like emails that you've received, but it also works in Safari. One thing I noticed is that it does have to be a currency. It doesn't just work for any number, and I don't think you can choose what currency to convert to. It's going to automatically choose your local currency. If you find yourself using conversion tools quite often, this is a really helpful little feature. In Safari, if you know that you recently closed down a tab, but you now realize you'd actually like to get it back, but you don't know the web address for it, there's a good chance that you can retrieve it. Go into Safari, tap the ellipsis in the bottom right corner, then choose All Tabs, then long press on the plus button in the bottom left corner. This will show you all of your most recently closed tabs. If the tab that you're looking for is in this list, just select it to bring it back. By the way, if you enjoy learning more about just how capable your iPhone is, consider signing up to the Daily Swipe. I send you an email every day with a tip for your iPhone, complete with easy-to-follow steps and screenshots. Best of all, it's totally free. Scan the QR code on screen or check the link in the description. If your iPhone supports it, the action button is, in my opinion, one of the most underused productivity hacks on the iPhone, because I think most people think you can only use it for basic stuff like accessing the camera or switching to silent mode. That simply isn't the case. If you go into Settings and choose Action Button, if you scroll all the way along to the right, there's a Shortcuts option where you can choose from any shortcut that you could create on your iPhone. But if you don't want to be quite as advanced as that, and you still want to make the most out of your action button, scroll one to the left to the Controls option and then tap Choose a Control. From here, you can choose from any of the Control Center functions and assign it to your action button. You might want to have it immediately access the calculator or immediately pull up a QR code scanner if that's something that you often do. You could use it to access the Measure tool, use Quick Notes to create a quick note on your phone, or choose New Reminder to immediately create a reminder. Even better, you can choose from any of the third-party AI assistants that you might have installed on your phone, whether that's Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT. They all have Control Center functions that you can assign in here, meaning that you're never more than one button press away from being able to access your favorite AI tool. The Messages app on your iPhone has evolved over the years and become a really powerful messaging tool. When you're in a message and you tap on the little plus in the bottom left corner, you've got a wealth of different options available to you. You might find that actually, for how you use messages, you've got too many options in here, and that's because many third-party apps come with a dedicated Messages app that automatically gets installed at the same time as the main app. It's good to know how to clean this up. To do this, you would go into Settings, scroll all the way to the bottom and choose Apps, then choose Messages, then tap into iMessage apps. In here, you'll see all of the apps that have been installed that include their own dedicated iMessage app. And if you don't want to see them when you tap that little plus button, just use the toggle switch to turn them off. In general, for me, I typically find that I've got all of these switched off, but you should obviously use this however you like. Then if we jump back into the Messages app and tap on that little plus in the bottom left corner, you can also long press on any of these options to move them up or down the list, depending on what you find the most useful. Things like Digital Touch or Genmoji, for example, if you're anything like me, you probably don't find them that useful, and so I tend to move those right to the bottom. Location, polls, send later, audio and photos are the kind of things that I find useful, so I prefer to make sure that they're up at the top. If you're anything like me, you spend a lot of time every day in front of your Mac, and if that's the case, you should definitely be thinking about what you're actually sitting in while you do it. I've been using the HBADA E3 ergonomic chair, which was kindly provided by HBADA, who are also sponsoring this video, and it's genuinely changed how comfortable those longer sessions feel. What I like most is the lumbar support. It uses a floating wing system where the support actually moves with you as you shift position. So whether you're sitting upright, focused on your screen, or leaning back reading something, your lower back stays properly supported. For anyone who spends a lot of their time at a desk, proper lumbar support really does matter. What I also really like is how adjustable everything is. The headrest moves in 4 directions and the armrests adjust in 6, so you can dial in exactly the right position for your setup. And there's a retractable footrest built in too, which is a lovely touch for those moments when you want to lean back and take a proper break without leaving your desk. Honestly, if you're spending serious time at your Mac every day, a good chair is one of the best investments that you can make in your setup. The HBADA E3 comes with free shipping, a 3-year warranty, and 30-day free returns, and you can grab 5% off with the code PROPER at the link in the description. There are going to be some podcast shows that you're going to want to listen to exactly as they were recorded. You want to enjoy every moment of them and not rush through them. But there are probably some podcasts, educational ones for example, where it's about getting the most information out of them as quickly as you can. For those, you might want to speed things up. The podcast app lets you do this, but even better, it lets you specify a particular speed for each individual podcast that you listen to. Let me show you how to do it. If you open the Podcasts app and then begin playing an episode of a podcast that you would like to do this for, you can then tap the ellipsis button in the top right corner of the podcast episode information page and then choose Go to Show. That will take you to the main show page for this particular podcast. Tap the ellipsis in the upper right corner, then choose Settings. Scroll down to the bottom of this page and you'll see a section called Speed and Audio Adjustments. You can either use the default settings or you can choose custom for this show. And when you do that, you can use the plus and minus to increase or decrease the speed. For example, you might set it to 1.5x, which will play it 1.5 times faster than it would as standard. You could also choose enhanced dialogue at the same time, which does exactly what it sounds like. It makes sure that the dialogue sounds good, even though you're speeding things up. You would then press the X in the top left corner to come out of settings and carry on listening. You can use custom settings for any podcast show that you like, meaning that you don't have to mess around with the settings each and every time. A recent improvement to the Reminders app means that you can now set reminders as urgent. This means they not only appear in the Reminders app, but they also trigger an alarm on your iPhone, just like the alarm that you have set to wake you up in the morning. The idea is that if it's really urgent, you want to know about it the second that you need to action it. To do this, you would start by creating a reminder just like you normally would. You create the reminder and tap the little I or information button to see the reminder details. You'll notice that in date and time, you can toggle an option called urgent. Once you do this, date and time will automatically be toggled on at the same time because in order for this to work, you do have to choose a date and time. From here on, you would fill out the rest of the reminder as normal. When you press the blue tick in the upper right-hand corner, the reminder will be saved and the alarm on your phone will trigger at the date and time that you selected, making it even less likely that you could possibly miss this important deadline. Here's a productivity tip that you might find useful if you often find yourself getting distracted by your phone. One of the best ways to force yourself to stop spending time on your phone is to make it as unappealing as you possibly can. One of the ways you can do that is to enable a Greyscale filter. To do this, you would go into Settings, then tap into Accessibility, then choose Display and Text Size, and then tap into Color Filters. Toggle the feature on, and by default, you can probably just leave this as grayscale, and you'll notice that your iPhone has now gone black and white. It's incredible how much less attractive your iPhone becomes when you remove all the color. Now, obviously, having to go all the way into settings every single time that you want to enable this feature isn't particularly helpful. What I would recommend that you do is go into Control Center, long press to enter Control Center edit mode, and choose Add a Control down at the bottom. In the Search Controls field at the top, type the word Filter, and you'll see an option called Color Filters within Vision Accessibility. Tap on this to add it to your Control Center. Now, the next time that you want to toggle this particular feature on or off, all you need to do is go into Control Center and tap the button. If you enjoy having some background noise while you're working, your iPhone has a surprising amount of features built into it that can help. First of all, if you go into Settings, then Accessibility, then choose Audio and Visual in the Hearing section and tap into Background Sounds, you can toggle the feature on. You can then tap into where it says Sound, and you can choose from a range of different options, including night, rain, fire, as well as many others. You would then tap the back button, and you can play around with volume sliders to set this up exactly how you like it. If you'd prefer more ambient music rather than sounds, if you go into Control Center and long press to enter Control Center edit mode, then choose Add a Control, scroll down to the Ambient Music section. In here, you'll see an option called Productivity. Tap on that and add it to your Control Center. But before you exit Control Center edit mode, tap on it again. You can then tap into where it says Playlist and choose from a number of different specific playlists to match your particular mood. You'd then simply access the sounds from Control Center anytime that you want to listen. I'm sure you already know that if you go into Spotlight Search on your iPhone and type in a foreign currency amount, Spotlight Search will automatically convert it into your chosen currency. If you want to work with different currencies, or if you just want to do a lot of conversions in a short space of time, this isn't particularly helpful. Thankfully, there is a feature built into your iPhone that allows you to do this. If you open the calculator, then tap on the calculator icon in the top right corner of the screen and choose Convert, you can then tap on the currencies next to the values at the top of the calculator and change them. I'm using currency as an example here, but you can see that you could also choose from angles, area, data, energy, force, fuel, loads of different units that you might want to utilize. Sticking with currency as our example, you would choose your currencies from the list, and Yahoo Finance is the tool being used to provide up-to-date conversion amounts. You can also use the up and down arrow button to swap the currencies around if you wish. You then simply type the currency in the top, and you'll get an immediate result in the field below, much quicker and much more useful. The Notes app on your iPhone is useful for taking quick notes, but honestly, if you're using it for anything longer than a couple of lines of text, you probably ought to make use of the audio functionality built into the Notes app. If you don't already know how to do this, let me show you. You'd start by creating a new note, then tap the paperclip button just above the keyboard and choose Record Audio. You'll then get essentially the same audio recording screen that you get in the Voice Memos app. Press the red record button down at the bottom, and you can record for as long as you like. When you're finished, tap the pause button and then press the yellow tick button in the upper right corner of the screen, and your recording has been saved. Your iPhone will do its best to transcribe the audio that you just recorded. In general, I find that this is okay. It certainly could be better, and I suspect this is something that will improve as the iPhone's AI capabilities improve in the coming years. Keep in mind, you've still got all of the rest of the note to input any additional text, tags, images, that kind of thing. Importantly though, you now have an audio note that you can keep hold of and search for whenever you need it. So there you go, those were 10 productivity tips for the iPhone that I reckon most people have no idea about. What about you? Did you learn anything new? Or were there any tips that you think I should have included instead? Drop me a comment and let me know. As ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.